there, this is Esther. I'm a surface designer and illustrator. I love to make art and teach others my process. This video is part of my Skillshare class. If you enjoy what you learn here, you're welcome to grab the 2-month for free link in my description box later. In this part of the class, we're gonna cover Pathfinder, Shape Builder tool, and Shaper tool. They work in very similar fashion. Sometimes they can be used interchangeably, but each one of them have their own strengths and weaknesses. First, let's look at the first group of shapes. Let me just zoom in a little bit. Actually, I'm gonna put these two guys away for now, and then bring these two guys in and make them bigger so that you can still see the title of the video. So over here we have two identical circles, right? And we want to bring out the Pathfinder tool or Pathfinder panel. I have it readily available over here, but if you don't, you can come over to Window and Pathfinder, and you will have it available. Let me just get it out for now and collapse this one. Basically, the Pathfinder lets us make all kinds of compound shapes, which is really helpful. But before we use it, we want to make sure we have the right grouping. In our case, we want to make sure the two circles are independent from each other instead of being in the same group. So when you click one of them, you want to make sure the other one is not automatically selected. Let's walk through different options real quick. When you select both circles and click on the first option, which is Unite, it will combine both shapes. But in terms of color and graphic appearances, when I mean graphic appearances, I meant the stroke, color, the gradient, and everything. The result will take on whatever shape that was in front. So in our case, let me just undo. Our first shape is orange, and when we unite both shapes, it will turn the final object into orange. So if we have a stroke color, it will also pick up on that. And the second option, let me just undo, is called minus front. So basically, when you select them both and click on minus front, it will take off the whatever the front shape is, as well as the overlapped area. Similarly, the last option, which is on the last option of the second line, it's called minus back. It's the same logic. It will take off whatever the back is, as well as the overlapped area. And it will give us the other half moon, which is on the orange side of the shape. The next option is called intersect. If we undo and restore both shapes, select them both, and click on intersect, it will give you the overlapped area. Again, in terms of the graphic appearance, it will take on whatever that was in front. Similarly, the next option is called exclude. It will give you everything except the overlapped area. All right, let's keep going. The next option is called divide. Again, you need to select them both and click on divide. Initially, it doesn't make any visual difference. It's not like previous options that you immediately know what it is. So this command acts like a cookie cutter or stencil, using a selected object to cut through other objects. In our case, if we use direct selection tool, which is the white arrow over here, or A, to select just the shape in the middle and give it a different color, you will see that by actually clicking on divide, we have cut through the two shapes and made 3 shapes out of it. And right now they're grouped together, that's why they're moving together. But if I'm clicking on Command-Shift-G to ungroup them, you will see that we actually have 3 independent shapes. The next option is Trim tool. Basically, it cuts away the top shape layer from the visible bottom layer. In this case, when I select both of them and click on Trim and ungroup, this will give me a full moon, which is the shape on the top, and a half moon, which is the visible bottom layer. As a result, the top layer will still be what it was, but the bottom layer will lose the overlapped area. The next option is merge. On the surface level, it looks very similar to the previous option, which is trim. When we click on it, it just basically trims it. You see the shape? However, here's the caveat. If we have one other shape on top of the front shape that has the same color, I know, it's super complicated. If we have an orange square over here, when we select all three of them and click on merge, it will merge this one with the same color. So it's super complicated, and in my opinion, it doesn't really worth the brain power to memorize what it does. And we have already talked about the minus back option, and the outline option is pretty obvious as well. When you select them both and click on outline, basically it will give you outline. Personally, I don't really see the benefit because you can easily do the same thing by just turning off the fill in your swatch panel. But for the sake of the class, I just have to mention that to you. You will notice that I did not talk about this option, which is awesome. It's called crop, because in itself, it deserves undivided attention. As a surface designer, I use this tool a lot. For example, I have this little blobby shape at the bottom, and on top we have three colorful lines, right? My goal is to eventually trim off what's around it. So what I'm gonna do is to create a clipping mask. So I wanna select the little blobby shape, which will serve as an outline. And I wanna copy it, Command C, and I wanna paste it in place. What I mean by that is to paste it right on top of each other. If you just do a Command V, your copy will be pasted at a different location. You don't have to align everything if you just do Command C and Command F. So now we have two copies right on top of each other. I'm gonna bring the top copy all the way to the very top. And I'm gonna do that by pressing Command Shift right bracket. If you can't remember, just right click and find Arrange and bring to front. So that's what you want to do. While it's still selected, I want to click on Shift and select all three lines as well, and Command 7 to make a clipping mask. You can also right click and make clipping mask, but Command 7 usually works faster. So now we have a trimmed shape, right? So after you make the clipping mask, when you hover over the lines, you still see this little ghosty line around it. When you double click it, you will go to isolation mode, which means that at the very top, you will see some level of brackets over here, which means that you can still, for example, rotate, and this is still changeable, and then hit escape. Once you're really happy with your final result, I highly recommend you to crop it. So what you can do is to make sure the top layer is selected and come over to the crop tool and just click crop. So basically what this one does is to trim all the excess that you don't need anymore to make your file size a lot smaller. It probably won't make a whole lot of difference when it's just one little blobby, but if you have a surface pattern that has like tons of woodland animal and really complicated shapes that is hiding under a mask, by trimming them off will really save your file. Sometimes will save you some heartache of having to deal with crashes. Let's go back to our original starting point, the blobby and three lines. We'll select them all and go over to a mysteriously helpful tool that is called Shape Builder. If you press Shift M, it will take you to the tool. which is nested over here. This tool is super helpful because it lets you do all the shape decisions on the fly. So you will see by default, it will combine shapes. You can tell because there's a plus sign on top of that. For example, whenever you want to combine two shapes, you just drag across. For example, in this case, I highlighted both and they will turn into one shape. And if I do highlight all the way across, all of a sudden, let me just click out. All of a sudden, my blobby has a hat. This little pink thing. Let's just pretend it's a hat. And then once you select them all and go back to the shape builder tool, you can also trim things off, just like what we did, but very selectively. For example, if you hold on to the Option key, it will turn the plus sign into minus sign, which will let you take off whatever parts that you don't want. You just click on it and it will get rid of it. In addition to combining and trimming, you can also use it for dividing. For example, this yellow line right now, let's call it belt. It's still an independent shape, right? Let's put it back. However, if we select the blobby and the yellow at the same time and Shift M for shape builder tool, and instead of dragging, we just click it once, it will actually divide the blobby based on the yellow shape. So right now, if we select our direct selection tool, you will see that the blobby has been divided based on the yellow line. So that's really, really handy. So personally, I like Shape Builder tool much more because I get to see the final result on the fly. I can't always remember what each Pathfinder option does, so this will kind of save me some brain power. The next option we're going to cover is called Reshaper tool. It's rarely used in my workflow, but I feel like it has a lot more potential, so I want to learn deeper with you over here. The keyboard shortcut is Shift N, and the icon looks something like this. So immediately, the most obvious application is when you freehand something, it will automatically interpret into a perfect shape. For example, if I'm just drawing very roughly into a triangle shape, and I will have a perfect triangle. Same thing for circle, or oval, rectangle, or square. Something like that. Or you can even do hexagon. This is a pretty terrible one, but still the Shaper tool can make a pretty good interpretation. Although I can see the limitation of this particular application because unless you're constantly drawing geometric shapes, this doesn't get used a whole lot. But the Shaper tool does much, much more than this. So I'm just going to delete all the little gray shapes around us and take a look at these two group of shapes. So over here we have two rectangles overlapping each other, but the overlapped area is knocked out. If we were to do this in Pathfinder tool or Shape Builder tool, the result is not live, which means that if we want to change the position, we have to redraw the two shapes and redo the configuration. However, if we have done the shape making using the Shaper tool, that's what I did for this shape, you can still move things around. If I just double click over here to go into the isolation mode, I can still move this orange rectangle and the effect is still there. The overlapped area is still knocked out, but I can experiment with the positioning. That's pretty neat. So once you're happy with the position, you can hit Escape key to get out of it. And anytime you want to change the position again or color or any attribute, you can always just double click to go into the isolation mode to do that. I'm using two very simple geometric shapes to demonstrate, but if your shapes are really complex, the same logic still apply. And a coffee mug over here is another example of the Shaper tool. When I double click and move the straw around, you can see the overlapped area where the straw touches the coffee turns white as I move, but the effect is live. So let's learn how we can do that. Let's start with two shapes over here, and I will give them different colors so we can tell them apart. Without selecting either one of them, you can go over to the Shaper tool over here, and as you hover, you will see the dotted line around the edges to show you the definition of the shapes. So at this point, whenever you scribble in the portion, it will basically get rid of that part. For example, if I want to get rid of the overlapped area, I'm just gonna scribble and it's gone. Because this effect is live, so you can double click to go to the isolation mode to change the position. You can even rotate over here by clicking on R to rotate. So this is pretty convenient. Let's just hit escape to get out of it. And draw another pair. So this time, I'm going to combine certain portion of the shape. Let's just make it a little more complex so it's more interesting. Let's see what happens here. So we have three shapes over here. And let's click on the Shaper tool, Shift N. And then this time I want to combine this portion over here. So I'm just going to scribble to draw across. You can see the two squares are combined. Even though they look like they're in one shape, the shape is not final because you can always click in to go into the isolation mode to change the position. And if you want to, say, knock this part off completely, you can just use the Shaper tool again to scribble this part. So how does the Shaper tool know you want to knock certain parts out or combine the two together? Because it's all just scribbling. The easier answer is that if you're scribbling in a single section, whether it's overlapped area like this one or an outside area that doesn't overlap with anybody else, but it is a single section, it will knock things out. Let me just undo. However, if you're scribbling across an area, it will take on the graphic appearance of your starting point and give it over to the combined shape. For example, if I'm starting from the blue, lighter blue over here and scribble across, it will color the rest of the darker blue with the lighter blue color. However, if I start from the yellow portion and scribble my way across the different shape, it will turn everybody into yellow. At least that's my understanding of how it works. I can see the Shaper tool being very helpful for someone who is working on a geometric shapes and you want to see how the combination works and before you decide on the final result. However, if you're just doing a lot of hand-drawn motifs, maybe this is not the best option because it just takes a lot of brain power to remember how to scribble and how to overlap. It might not just worth it. But again, as a teacher, I still feel like it's so helpful to present you all the information and the options that you have so that you can make a decision that is best for you. That's all I have for you in terms of shapes. Now let's move on to the next section. If you have enjoyed this tutorial, I'd love for you to subscribe to my channel. If you would like to grow your design and illustration skills, I would love for you to check out my Skillshare classes, where I teach my design process in depth. In the description box, you will find a link that will give you 2 months for free.